LaQuinn, can you hear me? Can you hear me, LaQuinn?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure. All right, cool. I'm a talk or whatever, but if you like, I'm gonna try to get done like 10 to 15 minutes, but then
Okay.
I'm gonna bring you in when we start doing question and answer, and I'll probably bring you in just on the recruiting process, like because I want you to kind of talk about how all these parents and people don't want to, have their kids go to D3 schools and stuff like that.
Okay.
All right, so give me a second. I'm gonna get everything started. Just back when this thing get down and be ready.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure. I forgot. It's been so long. There we go. We'll cut on that. We'll come on after this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'll do it. Yeah. I'll let people know. I'm gonna put you back on the thread in a second. Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? We're gonna have a good one tonight. We're gonna football chop it up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure that it's on YouTube. So make sure that if you can't, if your friends can't tune in, we have multiple questions for recruiting questions. I have coaches on the line on the back burner to answer, like to talk a little bit about, the process. We're getting close to signing day. This is gonna be real talk. So I'm gonna be blunt, just so that everyone's clear. I'm drinking water because y'all might think I'm drinking liquor or something like that. Because I'm gonna be that blunt. So we're gonna keep it real though. So hey, first and foremost, I'm gonna make it simple. Get over the glossy stuff that's just simple. Because I had parents that asked me about recruitment because we're going into signing day. You can put notes in the chat. When the chat come up, I already have some people that have sent a lot of emails on the earlier Facebook posts. We're going to answer all those. But the biggest thing is right now, let's make sure we cut to the earliest thing. Parents, the most important thing is grades. I know you hear that, but literally, if they don't have the grades, they can't play college football. If you don't have the grades, no matter what level you're playing, you'd probably have to go to junior college. That's just how it works. And so parents, that's something that you can control. Nowadays they have all kind of different apps and technology, so you can see what kind of grades your kids have. Back in my day, the mom would send a note to the school, and the teachers would sign it. But if your kid grades are bad, I keep saying moms because but also pops. That's something that's a full family thing. Can't play football without it, so let's make sure the grades are trump tight. I want to make sure I go over the different levels of football, and I'm going to bring in Coach LaQuinn Smith in a second. Uh, One thing that's kind of disturbing for me is I see parents that are only concerned about their kids going Power Five, or and what's even laughable is the whole D1 thing. Now you have parents that you know it's just their kid going D1. That's all, and we've gotten to the point where, and LaQuinn will be able to remind you, it used to be you had uh, you know D1 and then D1 AA, D2, D3, NAIA. Now it's D1, and they've included D1 AA involved, and the same people who would frown on a D1 AA scholarship. Now they're happy that it's D1. So levels are important, but at some point, it got to be about the kid getting to school for free. The thing that's ridiculous and people don't understand, and LaQuinta contest to this, you can look on any NFL roster, you'll see a lot of D2, D3, NAIA kids. Uh, One thing about it, it's probably easier to get to the NFL from than it is to get to college. Like in college, to get that D1 scholarship, it's hard nowadays. And I'll go over that a little bit later when we get in the question and answer because I don't want to, but I just want to make sure everybody understands the D1 process is, all the big schools that you may know. And now a lot of the HBCUs and a lot of, fine institutions, they qualify to be D1, there's the bowl series. Those are the teams that can play in bowls, and there's the championship series. Those are the teams like that play for the championship. You have D2, which is also fine. They just don't have as many scholarships. D3, which is usually most of your academic schools. So if you have good grades, you can really go D3. A lot of people are frowning on that. I know kids who went D3, and everybody's now talking NIL, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. But I know kids that are getting an extra $20,000 a year just to be able to do that. 20. So uh, I'm going to bring in LaQuinn real quick because he's a coach. And hey, LaQuinn, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm good. Hey, tell the people a little bit about yourself and tell them about your coaching tree and pedigree, and that uh, that you coach in college and all that good stuff.
So a little bit about myself. I This is my going into my 14th year coaching. This is my going into my second year coaching at the college level. I've coached at the high school level for the last several years. Been a high school head coach down in at South Lake High School in Groveland. Been a coordinator, done it all basically. Got the opportunity to coach Division III football. And it has actually been a blessing for me to be here to coach D3 ball. I mean, it's exciting. The one thing that people don't understand is D3 football is really good football. Uh, every Saturday we're playing kids. We got teams, Belhaven out of Mississippi. They've got two tackles that played in the FCS All American Bowl, and they play from D3. So the stigma of I can't make it to the pros from D3 is actually very, very wrong.
Eh, that's what I've noticed a lot too, man. Because you know, one thing about the NFL, they'll find you, but they can't find you if you're not playing. So,
That's right.
I have parents that'll be on this thread, parents that'll see this, that, they basically sabotage their kids because they wouldn't let them take a D3 scholarship or whatever the case may be. And while we're here, we might as well talk a little bit about the recruiting measurables. Let's go into that real quick because that's
Okay.
really what a lot of people don't understand. And I want to definitely address this, and you can tell them a little bit about it as well. One of the issues nowadays is there's every Power Five has a list of what their measures are going to be. So if you like, I deal with, I'll say his name. I got Carlos Odom, good friend of mine. He has Devontae, who's a corner over there. I don't. He's probably the best lockdown corner in the area. He's 5'10", and he, gets frustrated because you see these kids at 6'1", 6'2", that he probably is on the field better than, but they're getting big time offers. And I'm willing to put that kid up against anybody. And the reason why, I saw the kid go to camp and shut down everything, everything. But it doesn't matter because if your measurables don't fit that chart, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't mean you're not a great
Absolutely.
football player. Prime example is Keandre from last year. Keandre was a hell of a football player. He's at South Dakota, played this year, touchdowns, everything. But he wasn't tall enough for their matrix, and so
Correct.
he went, to a Division One. I think he's what that's they did too. Yeah, he went to,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, are no, they're D1 AA. Excuse me, the
Yeah.
FCS.
They're
But
FCS.
a lot of people, were upset because he rushed. He had all the numbers, but he didn't have the measurables. So parents, as you're sitting out there, if your kid doesn't have the measurables, if he, you got a defensive tackle, he's 6 foot, 6'1". Florida State are not coming to recruit that kid. Period.
And
But
even
go ahead.
even at my level, at the D3 level, we have measurables that we're looking at as
Correct.
well.
Correct.
Uh, a lot of people tend to think, oh, D3 is like I said, not good football. Our starting running back right now is 6 foot, 240 pounds.
Right.
He's our starting running back. That's a
Right.
lot of places. That's a D1 running back. But again, because of how things have fallen, he's ended up with us.
Well, let's address that because that since
Mhm.
we're there, and that's actually a good, like right now, and this is what I'm trying to tell parents. We're old enough to have been around in, you know, I'd say 7 years ago.
Mhm.
It's a lot of kids that 7 years ago would end up at, you know, F, FAU, South Florida,
Yep.
Tulane, Prairie Views, FAMU's, BCU's.
Mhm.
Those kids aren't ending up there anymore. I mean,
Those.
and because the portal has kind of messed the game up. Because if I'm a coach and I got to take a chance on this high school kid, but I can get this kid that was at Utah for sitting on the bench for 2 years, I'm gonna take the kid from Utah. So it's
Yep.
actually pushed everybody down. So like
Correct.
the 3-star kids nowadays that would be going to Colorado, they would be going to, certain like they're not doing that anymore. Unless they're
Nope.
like 6'6", 300 pounds or something of that
Correct.
nature. But the 5'10" athlete, it's a lot of those guys now that are ending up at FCSs, D2s and D3s, like you said. Like they're
100%.
falling down because they don't have an opportunity. And
I
and
mean,
and like
and
you said, y'all have measurables at D. Like the biggest difference used to be, you know, it was the size and weights. So,
mhm,
and it was really mostly on the offensive defensive line,
mhm.
but nowadays, and I forgot to tell parents this, if you're not a tall kid, you better be able to do what?
Better be able to be fast.
You better be fast.
You
I
better
mean, you
be
better be
fast. You
fast,
better be
fast,
strong.
fast. Like if you can run, if you run in 4.3s, but even with that being said, if you 5'5" and run a 4.3, that's gonna be difficult.
It's gonna be
But if
difficult.
you're like a
It will be
five five
difficult
nine,
for
5'10" kid,
yeah.
go ahead.
I mean, it's crazy because I try to get parents to understand not everybody can go D1.
No.
I talked to I won't say their name, but I talked to a SEC coach, flat out, and he said we're taking 5 high school kids,
Yep. Yep.
and that's it. Now they're
Period.
offering 150, 200. They're taking 5.
Well, I don't.
What are they
I
gonna
want
do?
to. I want to piggyback on that, and this is something else. So, if you're in a class, if you're a junior right now, and you're getting offers, because it's a lot of guys out there with 25, 30, 40 offers, and probably out of those 25, 30, 40 offers, maybe 2 are committable. And what I see kids do is like, let's say the one committable is Tulane, but you got Ole Miss, Pitt, Maryland, all those schools have offered you. Then they kind of, don't call Tulane. Hey, I know I got something better. And then here comes, like November, they haven't heard from Maryland in 12 months, which, by the way, is the telltale sign. If you don't hear from those coaches, you don't hear from those staffs, you really don't have an offer. And
Correct.
and it looks good with all the graphics and everybody saying you have all these offers, but the reality is you really need to see if they're committable offers. And
Absolutely.
and and I see it happen, with any offer, not just big schools. I see dudes do that with the FAMs and the BCUs. You need to figure out if that offer's committable.
Correct. And the question to ask, can I commit right now? If this
Mhm.
offer, can I commit to your school right now, shut my recruitment down? When the coach goes, what it ain't committable, big
Yeah,
dog. Like,
can you come to camp?
yeah,
We gotta see
get,
you at camp.
man. If I've heard it as a high school coach, well, coach, we want to see him at camp. Man, you know what? You can see him right now.
Oh
So,
no.
you
The
know, and
only
that and
like I
that's the thing. They gotta ask the question, can I commit? And when
That
the
should be the
coach
first
comes in
question.
hall,
That should be the first question out your mouth.
first question.
And the next question is, hey, because one of the things is if I don't commit,
Mhm.
and I wait, will you hold it for me? We got a question. Someone said, are there different types of offers? Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They're quite. You have the offer that some schools. It's an SEC school that they throw out about 400 offers, knowing that they can only take even on a good day they can only take 25, but they
Yeah.
throw 300 offers out to everybody. So it's just a regular. There's an offer that, hey, well, actually, let me back up. There's an offer that you my homeboy, and I know you. I'm gonna offer your kid to try to help him to help him blow up. That's the first offer, and that's generally someone that you have a relationship with that knows you. Y'all are cool, and very few guys have that ability. Like you have to be somebody that's been in the recruiting game a long time and have known guys, and they got your back. The
100%.
next one is the offer like that this certain SEC school does that they throw it out to everybody, and they've been doing it for at least 10 years. Like they've
Mhm.
led you. You can Google them. They lead the most offers every year, and and it's just an offer. The next one is we're offering you to come to camp. That
Mhm.
that's the next offer. And that is, hey, you come to camp, you ball out. We may or may not give you an offer, but it's
Mhm.
the offer for you to come to camp, and we'll see what it is.
Oh, and
The
by the way,
last
you pay
offer,
full price for that camp.
oh yeah, 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 you're gonna pay for it. And then the last offer is the committable offer,
Mhm.
and that is the one that that school is contacting you every day. They calling you. They act like that, like And I tell people you can almost paint this stuff in the terms of relationships, but relationships are different now. But back
Yep.
in the day, if a guy wanted a girl, he was gonna bug the crap out of her. It
Hmm.
wasn't, he was gonna call her every day, talk to the mama, take out to eat, do whatever he needed to do. That's just the way it went. So that's something uh, and that was a great question. Whoever asked that, this whoever asked that a different kind of offers, that was a great question. Uh, Mel had
Even
something, but
even
it
you
didn't
get
come
down
through.
to even you get down to the D2 and D3 level. So the Division 3 level, you'll see even we do it. Now we flat out say it's not a scholarship offer; it's a roster spot offer because in Division 3 there is no scholarship except for
Correct.
academic. Um, so I would always caution people to make sure you listen to what the coach is saying, because if a D3 coach is telling you, "Hey, you got it's a scholarship offer," it's wrong because the only thing you can get is academic money in the D3.
Period.
D
That
D2,
and yeah,
yeah, Division
that's
two,
period.
Division 2, they only have 22 or full scholarships that they can use. They're splitting those 22 scholarships amongst 50 people, 60
Hmm.
people they bringing in a class. Now, I'm not
And
real
you,
smart, but I can tell you that them offers are 15, maybe 2,000. The occasional kid is going to get the $10,000 offer.
and you better have grades for that one.
And you
Like, because you're gonna have
better
to
have
you're gonna have to
grades.
have academics to go. It's actually hard to get a D2 because of the academic
Hmm.
aspect of it. When you get D3, you're getting pretty much scholarship money. Believe it or not, a lot of D3 athletes live very, very well. People don't realize that. I've had quite a few that have.
Yep.
And
Um,
also, I won't say their names, but the like that's where you talk about like partial scholarships. But what
hmm.
they don't understand, Division 1 scholarship. I had a guy that was telling the world he had a partial scholarship at a Division 1 scholarship, athletic and partial, academic. And just for the record, there's no such thing as that. So
No.
when you go Division 1, you either get a full ride or or nothing at all. The only difference between like the FCS programs, usually they got what 65 or something like that,
Yeah,
and
they
the,
got 65.
yeah, and the Power Five and Group of Fives have like 85.
Right.
But
And even at the FCS level, they're still splitting scholarships
yeah,
for some of those
they can
lower
split the
tiers.
FCS. It's 63.
They are
They
still
can split
splitting.
there. They can split there.
So,
But they generally will give out about 40 and then split that last
hmm
23. They usually
hmm
they so that way they can, get their roster. So and
correct.
also that's another thing that guys don't understand. If you're a kid with great academics, now you're a little bit more I like you a little bit more because we can get you
Hmm.
in here. I can give you 5,000 scholarship money, but you got in on the academics. So
Correct.
and then I have hold on, we got to go back to this one. What's your thoughts on the military academics, such as Army, Navy, Air Force? Uh, my thoughts is they're great, but you have to be a certain kind of kid. Like,
Yeah.
like kids graduate from those military academies, they're gonna be set for life.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like they're gonna be officers in the military, they're gonna live a great life. But it is, it's hard,
Ac-
you know.
academically, those three, the service academies, you're basically going to Harvard
Yeah.
and you're doing in the
All right.
military. I mean
Yeah, at the
that's
same
the kind
time.
of that's the
At the same
academics.
time.
Yeah, at the same
Right,
time.
right, right, right.
I ain't smart enough to go to Harvard. I can tell you that.
And I'm
So
not tough enough. My son just had the military boys out. Matter of fact, they had it today. They got it. They had one today. The
oof,
Marines came out there today, and he told me last week he was like, Dad, I couldn't go to the military. I'm like, but I
no,
told him I was like, man, this is going to be the hardest thing you ever did. So
that's
I get
different.
it.
That's
It's
different.
it's different.
But I will tell you,
One
if you get the opportunity to go to a military academy and that's the life you want to live, it sets you up, literally sets you
right,
up for life. That is a true
yeah.
40-year decision.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
You good.
yeah,
You gonna have We got a question. Say what does a good GPA needs to look like as a minimum? My thing is a 3.0. Like to be
mhm,
honest, I wish every association in the country would literally say if you don't have a 3.0, you can't play.
I
Because
agree.
my thing is like I think that and the reason I say that is when I was a young kid in Texas. You guys don't know this guy, but I guarantee if somebody from Texas on here, they'll know. It was a kid named Chris Pryor. Chris Pryor ran for 3,500 yards and won the state championship. Chris Pryor was 6'2", 240, and ran like a nine. He won like state with like a 9.9 yard. That's when he was running yardage. And Chris Pryor, when come signing day, he signed to go to Texas Tech. Chris Pryor literally didn't graduate because he had a .08 GPA. Texas was so the school of Texas, like the Texas Independent, like the school did, like the Texas board was so embarrassed. They came. I was a freshman. They came up with a rule that very like I'm talking about the next like like in the fall that stated that if you did not have a 70 in every class, you couldn't play. And I remember being a kid and everybody was like, "Oh, that's so unfair to the kids. They're not gonna do it." Blah blah blah. And you know what happened? Everybody had a 70 because them kids
Hmm.
wanted to play. Like everybody had a 70. Like it was like you had to have a 70 in every class. So if you got a 69 in a class, you had to sit out for 6 weeks. That was a D plus. So you had to have a C in every class in order to play. And guess what? Maybe that first semester kids struggle, but
But
boy, after
after that,
that, everybody had it together. Because so I think a 3.3 would be a great, like a 3.0 would be great because like if you got a 3.0, they can pretty much help you get in school no matter what.
and I'll tell you, like like even at the D3 level, we can get you in at a 2.5,
Mhm.
but you gonna pay a lot of money. My
Correct.
school is $48,000 a year.
Wow.
48. I can get you in at 2.5, but I need you to know you paying quite a bit of money.
And if you,
Uh,
what's the difference between like that kid with the 2.5 and the kid with the 4.0?
you're talking about $8,000 to $12,000.
That's good money. If you're a parent, that's what you want to hear. That's
Absolutely.
what you want. If you're a parent, that's what that's exactly what you want to hear. We kind of went over it already about the offer
Hmm.
thing, which was great. Now let's talk a little bit about the final signing day. You know, that's the one coming up this Wednesday.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of people hurt on Wednesday because I know parents and people that aren't taking offers to go to these D2, D3 schools. I know parents that are like still waiting for uh, so I know parents that are walking on in schools. When they have scholarships because they want to say, hey, it's this this level of football. Um, One of the things that I would tell parents is you got to go where they want your kid. That's no matter what level of football it is. And when they want you, they give you some kind of scholarship,
Hmm.
whether it's academic, athletic. It's not that if you get a walk on, they don't want you. They just use you as a roster. That's all they're doing. Like they do not want you. And so and the thing about it is nowadays, and I didn't put it up here, but now you have the transfer portal. The transfer portal works both ways. It's
Hmm.
not just kids leaving, going from Florida to Florida State or from Miami. Yeah, that happens. But there's kids that are leaving and kids going from Miami to FAMU. That happens. But there are kids that are leaving, going from Albany State to Florida State, going
Hmm.
from the kid that was I saw him today, the running back in Missouri. He
Yep.
was at a D3 school, and then now he set all kind of records in Missouri.
Yep.
So it goes both ways. So now, which to me honestly is actually a good thing. I like that's the part about the transfer portal I do like. It gives kids who actually are at smaller schools that got overlooked or for whatever reason it didn't work out. It gives them an opportunity to go play at these schools. But that just lets you know how serious the transfer portal is when they're going to D2 and D3 school athletes taking their stars. That's why the coach at Boston College said he had to quit today because
Yep.
he said that he literally will take a kid, get a kid to where he's this star football player, and then all of a sudden, uh, you
He
know,
gone.
he's gone because somebody offered him money. And let's make sure that we're perfectly clear. And so that I want to make sure everybody understands this. If you're at a school and you're getting $50,000 and some school wants to give you three, four, $500,000, you'd be a fool not to go to that other school. Ain't that much loyalty in the world. Hey, unless your daddy coaching at that, I think even if my daddy was there, I might have to leave. Seriously, that's
Yeah.
just what it is, right? So,
Now,
so let's make sure that we clear. So I'm not mad at any kid that does that. Seriously.
now I'm going to talk about like the D2 and D3. There's a lot of kids committing and saying they want to go to a D2 or D3 school, but they've forgotten one very important piece. They have not gotten their financial aid package yet. So you're telling me you committing and you going to go play at a school and you don't know how much you're going to pay.
Mhm.
If any coach is pressuring you to say you got to commit, you got to commit, ask them how am I going to commit when I don't know how much I'm paying? Because they can't tell you because the government has not released a single financial aid to any school.
Yeah.
I tell kids that we've had a couple kids say they want to commit, and we say, listen, we will accept your commitment, but we need you to understand nothing is done until you get your financial package.
Yeah.
I want to win as much as the next, and I want to get the best players possible.
Mhm.
But I also don't want these kids going into complete debt when they don't have to. So parents, please, God, make sure you are talking to your kids, talking to the college coach, talking to the university, the college, whatever it is, about the cost. Because even at the D2 and D3 level and lower level FCS programs, you're paying something.
Mhm.
You may actually realize you pay less at a D3 school than you do with a scholarship at an FCS or an NAIA school. There is a school in Florida right now, an NAIA school, that is $30,000 more than my school.
Mhm.
And they'll give you a scholarship and you're still going to pay more money. So just make sure you ask those questions before you commit or sign your name on a dotted line. Because, FCS or FCS, FBS, and D2, they have the national letter of intent. Division 3 does not have a national letter of intent. And that's set up by that way on purpose.
Mhm.
So just make sure, if you're going to a D2 school and you sign on signing day, you're financially responsible. So just make sure you ask questions before you sign.
With that being said, we got someone else that asked if a player doesn't sign next week, what's the possibility of something coming later? It's possible, like everything else.
Mm.
Probable, probably not. But the beautiful thing is there will be kids. I had a kid at one point in time. Went to junior college. Was going to go to junior college out of high school. Uh, and he signed and he was going to go, but he got his grades to like he ended up graduating, getting the grades or what have you. And Grambling had a spot available, and Doug Williams offered him a spot, and he ended up going. This was in June. Uh, it happens, but it's
Hmm.
very far and far between. Usually speaking, they have guys they know, and then quite frankly, nowadays it's very slim and probably more slim because that was like 10, 11 years ago, uh, because of the transfer portal. It's still
Right.
like you have over so many kids in the transfer portal now that and you're gonna have more come May. Like after guys don't like for some reason they get beat out with a spot or whatever the case may be,
After
they're
spring
gonna be in
ball.
the portal. Yeah, after spring ball, you're gonna see a lot of kids in the portal. Like a guy has a great spring, he's on TV, he scored three rushing touchdowns. All of a sudden, the school wants him, he's gone. So but the difference is those schools already have the portal. Like, and I'll tell y'all straight up, to being totally honest, for those who know I'm very connected with college coaches, and they're already like they're looking at other teams' rosters right now, trying to see who the heck can get in the portal. Seriously, they are looking at them right now, like, hey, can this kid get in the portal? Is this kid going to be there? So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. You know,
Yep.
the portal, the portal's a game changer, and so I just think that parents need to be aware of that. So Someone asked me why I got on today, and you kind of said it, and this is why I always rock with you. There's this quote, and I want to read it. It says, "The only thing needed for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing." You could have easily came on here and not told the parents about, you know, signing on signing day and the financial responsibilities. You know, I'm big on that as well. You know, one of the things that I definitely, we got a lot of questions that are coming up, but one of the things that a parent asked me, and it made me feel funny because we had a lot. I don't know if you were paying attention. We had stuff with two schools going at it back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that, but it is what it is. But a parent asked me about trainers, and hopefully they're nice enough to share their comments because I know they're watching. But they asked, and they asked, like, why is it that trainers are always touting, like, kids that they train, and it's only the kids with offers. Because we've had this conversation before. Like, the reason I
Mm-hmm.
don't brag about the kids like the Cedric Baxters and the guys that because for every bus trip I take, I might get 25 offers, but there's at least 15 kids that don't get nothing. So
Right.
I'm very cognizant of that because I really like, it don't take no, right, like Cedric Baxter. I didn't, like, hey, I might have introduced the coach to him when the coach said, "Man, is there a freshman?" But I knew Sam was gonna have every offer in the country. I mean, I knew that. I knew that when back when they were freshmen. I told you that then.
Yep.
Like, certain kids like Jalen Carter, ain't nobody do nothing. Man, look, Jalen Carter's Jalen Carter. God said he was gonna play football.
Yeah.
But you got to also remember, a lot of trainers are actually getting paid.
Yep.
So it behooves them to, say or do anything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know this, I ain't getting paid. People on I have a day job. That's what people don't understand. Like, I'm not getting paid for none of this stuff. People come with oh, your bus trip is $600. I tell you what, you take the kid and see how much it's gonna be. You
So
take the
it's a
kid.
lot more than
Right.
that.
Like, and
A lot.
and I'm not even taking no money off of that. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, it's hard for me to do that when I just know the importance of going to camps. I know the
Absolutely.
importance of I know that, like I try to tell people earlier, just think about it common sense wise. If I'm a coach, I've offered 200 kids and 5 come to the camp, the other 200 don't come, guess who I'm gonna put my attention on?
Them five.
And then guess what? I offered 200 kids, 5 came to camp, but at this camp, I seen this guy. And like, I've seen it happen. I've seen coaches that they literally did not know who that guy was. They literally were like Garrett Johnson, who is about to get married. Salute. Uh, took him everywhere. Nobody would offer. Florida was that was his dream school. Wouldn't offer him. The coach of Kentucky, Chad Scott, says, "Ag, please bring him because I think he's better than Brandon Barrios. Brandon Barrios plays in the league right now." He said, "I think he can beat him out." I took him. I drove him. Drove. This is back. This is what actually triggered me to get a bus because I took and Coach Wells, if he's on it, he can test this story. I took Roger Proctor to Memphis. Me and Keywan where I live. We drove from Orlando to Memphis so Roger Proctor could work out for the guy who, because back then you could just work out with the guys.
Right.
Roger worked out for the coach Holloman Wiggins at Alabama. Got the offer. Drove to Cincinnati, Lake City, Dalvin Pierce worked out, got the offer. Got down there to Kentucky with Garrett, and he ended up getting offered. But it was I realized at that point the importance of actually the kids participating and doing it in front of coaches because that makes a difference, and that's the only reason why I do the bus tour. But the only reason that I take a bus is because we did all that driving, and there was a dude on the bus, and he was charging $2,000, $2,000, and we was going to the same camps, and none of his kids got offered, and all my kids was killing it. And guess what? So I said, "You charged." He was. I hate to say it, he's my Texas buddy. Good people. I still know him, but he's about that bread. Man, I just like, hey, let me figure it out, and I did it. So all I
Yeah.
do is get the cost. Whatever the cost is divided by 40. That's the bus trip. You
So
know,
you
but
got a question about how do you know
which
a
one?
trainer's a good trainer?
Yeah.
For me,
What makes
I
a good
know it's a
train?
good trainer. What drills are they doing? Are you doing football like drills, game type drills, things that are going to cross over from drill to game? Everybody that's out here as a trainer is not a trainer. They are getting paid.
Ah,
Watch the drills. If you don't
ah,
know, and most high school coaches, there are some that are kind of stuck up in their ways. They don't want, most good high school coaches want you working with somebody. There's only so many hours in a day I can coach you.
correct.
Work with somebody. So, but talk to your high school coach. Because yes, there are, unfortunately, there are trainers out there with their own ulterior motives. I
Man,
would
this might be one
AJ
of the best
Brooks,
questions ever.
listen, AJ Brooks, guy we both know very, very well. He don't have no ulterior motives. He's gonna train the whole athlete. He's going to have drills that are going to cross over to actual game practice situations. He's not trying to bust nobody's head over the. He's wanting to make the community better, the athletes better. So we can continue to have great athletes going to the next level. That's a real trainer. There are some people, I'm not in the Orlando area anymore, but I know, they out there for themselves. That's not going to make your athlete better. So just ask questions, talk to your high school coach, talk to people like AG. AG don't care where you go to school. He just wants you to be great wherever you at.
Don't care who you train with.
Talk.
I like what people don't understand is, and that's why this is a good question. To be honest, a lot of parents don't know. Like
Mhm.
if my son's a quarterback and I don't know, I mean, or my son's a running back and I don't know, like my son's a wide receiver because the reality is like Charles Woodson's son, he gonna be
Mhm.
straight at DB. He got Charles Woodson,
Yeah, he gonna
right?
be all
So he
right.
good. So a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that knowledge.
Mhm.
So that's why they said, whoever this parent is, they Google them. They Google the people, say they never played. Down south, their trainers played. To a certain degree, I'm not the person that says that you have to play uh, played sports, but for a certain degree, you had to play something. You ain't have to be the greatest. I'm not saying,
Right.
you don't have to be the power five guy, but you had to play, because
Mhm.
how do you understand what I'm doing if you really didn't play? And we have
Correct.
Central Florida is
Correct.
probably the only spot I ever been to, and I do agree. Like where all the trainers ain't never played. Like to be
Mhm.
totally honest, like you look at it, or even they played, they weren't successful in their playing careers.
Mhm.
Like whereas when you go to down south, like in Miami, or in those guys played at major universities. They might not
Mhm.
have they might not have been a star or whatever, but they were stars in high school. So
Right.
I get it. Uh, so I definitely see it. And this is, I think, how do I tell? Well, the thing is, you can kind of tell, in my opinion. Uh, like he brought up AJ, and I wasn't gonna bring AJ up because I know AJ, and he's like a little brother to me. But generally, the guys who, and I can even go even as far as like Tom Shaw back in the day. Tom Shaw used to have his stuff in Orlando. He really didn't advertise like that. You had to kind of
Mhm.
know to know. You know what I'm saying? He really didn't. He really didn't advertise like that. Uh, I'm okay with guys getting their money. Some guys really are just out here raping parents.
Mhm.
And to me, one of the better things to do is go and train with more than one trainer. Go
Absolutely.
go and if there's if there's four running back trainers in the area, go train with all four. If
Yep.
there's four quarterback trainers, go train with all because one thing that like there's kids out there, like I say all the time. If you want to show me a good trainer, show me a guy that took a kid that nobody knew. Like you had him since he was, seventh, eighth grade. You were his only trainer, and now this kid is all world. You can't like I had a guy that tried to take credit for Asad Wasim. And God blessed Asad with the stuff he had years before that. And he trained with him one time, and next thing you know, he was like telling the world he trained my son. I'm like, are you kidding me? But and I just stepped to him and told him, hey man, I understand this is your stitch. You're trying to get paid. But man, please don't go out here and tell the world you train because he was ready made before he got to you.
Right.
I've seen AJ train guys that, professional college, guys in high school, and you don't see it. You don't really talk about it. because that's
Mhm.
what AJ trained a guy that was the number 5 pick in the Major League Baseball draft. But nobody knows that.
Right.
And because he's not finna over extra. But I would tell parents, train with AJ. Train like Low Wood has trained plenty of good guys. Train
Absolutely.
with Tom Shaw. Train with all of them and find the guy that fits for you.
Yep.
But don't like what I see down in Central Florida, they will just rush to a trainer because of what they see on social media. Or like that's great. I want everybody to promote themselves, but as a parent, your job, you can't get caught up in that. You better find somebody that truly knows what they're doing, because these
Yep.
colleges ain't playing. They're not playing. And if your kid get up there and can't play, guess what? They don't care about sending. That's how it works. That's how it works. So, uh, hey, there go my boy Jay. Hey, which by the way, this is one of the better trainers in y'all don't even know him. He over the U.S. Army, all the other stuff, but he trains in Texas, and he just does what he does. It's just the way it
Mhm.
works. Let's see what else we got. You have to know the game. Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Hey, the
Absolutely.
PJ, that at the end of the day, that really is what it boils down to. Like I see guys like I'm not gonna say no names. I've seen it with a few guys, and we saw it with a wide receiver guy. I don't know if you remember when this guy had a drill running back. He's a wide receiver guy, but he had a drill where he had 4 guys tackling a running back. You remember that? He had 4 guys tackling the run. This is right when COVID happened. What the hell does that have to do? Like 4 guys, like almost like jumping the kid. That had nothing to do with football. You know, like I told somebody, like, look at the other thing too. Look at the coach's credentials.
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, like, I know a little bit about finances, I think. But if Warren Buffett is going to teach you about finances, you might want to go listen to Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
because he knows more than I know. Tom Shaw, when I went to Tom Shaw, it was amazing just to see. I saw Tom Shaw work out with some trainers. Not Tom Shaw. I saw a kid work out with some trainers. Coach Wells could testify to this. And then they went to Coach Shaw. The kid ran a 4.8 in his pro day. Went to Coach Shaw, and now it's a 4.4. You know, in like 3-4 weeks. So those are things. You gotta be able to. And it's hard as parents. I know it's hard because you don't know, but also ask around. You know,
Absolutely.
ask around. You know, I mean, don't just go to a trainer because they say they got this kid. Man, go find out if that trainer is really like that. Like
Yep.
go at like go look at the other guys like, because one thing about it is if you go look, or like a prime example for me, when my son was coming up, he's not even on here. He may be on here. Anthony Fieldings, he played in the NFL, played linebacker. So I was trying to figure out a place to train him. He was young, and I took Anthony with me because I knew he knew. And we literally watched these three, and he was like, "Oh, AG, all he's doing is conditioning. Oh, AG, all he's doing, hey, AG, that's the guy." You know, and I appreciate him for him because I didn't know. I
Right.
knew I didn't know. He played in the league, he knew. So, I tell parents, there's a lot of different things you can do. You know, yeah. My thing is, I'm with that. Hey, man, I'm down for you getting your money because let's cut to the chase. Parents, so that we're clear. If a trainer got an elite guy at that training session, he ain't paying for nothing. Let's make sure that we understand that. They ain't finna there's not a trainer alive, but like I can only tell you, like, there's not a trainer alive. He has those elite guys. They're not paying. They're gonna use them. For marketing. I get it. Hey, you came and trained with me. I get it. But they're not paying. That's something that I see all the time. So let's make sure, like don't get it twisted. Like, they're not paying. Just like you said something earlier about coming to camp.
Mhm.
If
He
Cedric Baxter came to your camp,
he ain't
you
paying
gonna you
$1.
gonna figure out a way for somebody to pay for him.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. So yeah, hey Jay, it's on YouTube, man. So you can just go to the Top Recruits Now YouTube and find it. I know we got some more questions from people on Facebook, so I'm finna go grab them, and then let's see what they talking about. All right. So we have Tom Hutchinson. He want to know where you can listen to this. Tom, uh, okay. Oh, my boy TA. Oh yeah. Like, hey, Example right there. Shit. Hey, TA one of the best trainers in Central Florida, and people don't know. But go by and check him out. Go by and go check out what he do. Cause TA ain't finna, he ain't finna be like, oh, I'm TA, come look at me. Like the man got connections. The man
Mhm.
is, like TA got connections to the point where, like, check this out. He do all the Under Armour stuff, and next thing I know, he on Slam Ball. I'm watching TV, him and his son on Slam Ball. He on ESPN. That's the kind of connections TA got. You do need to look at like guys' connections. And what people don't
Right.
understand is when they have connections, you'll probably never even know. If
Well,
guys
it's
are
like,
telling you I got this connect, I got that connect, hey man, like then you know they don't have that. Like that's just being honest. Like
uh,
if they got the connect, you'll never know. Like it's only those who know. You know what I'm saying? It's not they
mm,
ain't finna just. And TA is a damn good trainer. Yeah, and like I say, but you got like all those guys, TA, Bojack, AJ, go train with all of them. Go train with all of them because
yep,
you may learn something from all of them, and then figure out the one you like, and then rock with them.
yep,
But the one you like doesn't need to be the one. And when I say like, let me take that back. The one that is going to challenge you.
yes,
That you want to be with the one that's putting in like when you leave his session, you're frustrated. That's the
yep,
guy you want to be with. You don't need your trainer shouldn't be your buddy. Your trainer shouldn't be your friend. Your trainer shouldn't be none of
totally
that.
agree.
You should almost hate your damn trainer.
Yep.
So, like, because if he your buddy and your friend, that's a problem. You know, his job is to train you. Like, everybody's seen a Rocky movie. His trainer cussing him out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, PJ is a real deal. PJ been a real deal for forever. Like that's my guy. PJ is real as they come. What I like about PJ, he don't have a hate bone in his body. I
Mm,
I've seen PJ with kids that play the same position his son play, and he out there supporting them. Like he out there, hey man, that kid bad. Hey man, he out there. That's what I like to see. Us all support each other. You know, let's see here. We got
absolutely.
looks like it was Jackie Gaines. Her son is a hell of a quarterback with a
Hmm.
3.8. He said pros and cons of going to JUCO, especially new transfer portal world we live in. The con at JUCO ain't easy. I mean,
No,
that's like at JUCO they might have 120 kids for 50 scholarships, but everybody, walks on and tries out. But the advantage if you go to a JUCO, like her kid has a 3.8. So if he goes to a JUCO, he's eligible to leave because he was a qualifier.
yep.
So that's an advantage. To me personally, a kid like her son should go to a prep school because he hasn't been held back. He's a smart kid. He has a 3.8. He's going to get more physically bigger, mature, and all that kind of stuff. A
Hmm.
prep school would be great for him. It would be tremendous because then he would, basically it would be like he would be resetting his recruiting cycle.
Yep. Yep.
What's your thoughts on that?
I gotta be careful.
Okay.
But again, JUCOs, if you watch what's going on with the transfer portal and everything else, it is even affecting JUCOs at this point. So I mean, it's got to be conversations you got to have. You got to have a knowledgeable head coach. Again, I know a lot of coaches in Central Florida. Not everybody is as knowledgeable as what people think. You got to be in a situation where that coach is going to be honest with you. Like, hey, your best bet may be go to a D2 and ball out. Be that guy. Find a school like I know right up the road, Shorter University.
Right.
The last 2 years, they've had a tight end that's now at Florida State from D2 starts, and they have an offensive lineman that's going to Penn State that will probably start. So find you a school, use the transfer portal to your advantage.
Correct. Correct.
Go out and dominate because the big thing you got to have is college film.
That's what they want now.
That's the one thing you got to have. If you got it and you're that guy, even if you come to my school and you're an all conference, all American nominee, you got a good chance.
Hey man, I agree. We had that conversation earlier. I think that there's nothing wrong with going to that D2 school and ball because if you ball like a D1 guy, trust me, they're gonna find you.
That's right.
It's just that simple.
That's
He
right.
says, "What's thoughts on reclassifying?" I used to be a person that didn't like it. I just because I just But I'm at a point now as a parent, it may be something that you need to do. You know your child. Me
Mhm.
personally, I couldn't, I wasn't going to ever reclassify my son. It kind of is what it is because, you know, uh, I don't. It's not about your son, dominating like that. If he's dominant, he needs to dominate with regardless.
Correct.
I know, but for some kids, it is necessary. Like they might be just really, really, really small, or they might, or they might just have. I'm definitely down for reclassifying if a kid is having troubles academically. I'm all
Absolutely.
in for that. Like just to reclassify for sports purposes, I'm not really a fan of it. But that's just me. What
But
about
you
you?
as a parent have to look at your child before they get to high school.
Mhm.
Looking at, okay, if my child's struggling in the 7th and 8th grade, do I need to hold him back one more year? Not for his athletic ability, not so he can be bigger. Like I was the youngest kid in my graduating class.
Right.
I probably should have been held back just on age purposes. I graduated high school at 5'10", 175 pounds. By the time I was done with Navy boot camp a couple months later, I was 6'2", 210. So
I was about to say. I was about to say. I don't think you ever. I've never known you to be 5'10", 100 and some pounds. I never known you to
so
be 100 and anything. So
I ain't been 100 in a long
right,
time.
right, 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 right.
But honestly, knowing what we know now, I should have been held back because of my age and how small I was.
Mhm.
But that's
No, I
hindsight.
mean,
So
they
it's
all
just got
grow.
to be an honest conversation at home. And again, you got to make sure you're at a good school that is going to look out for your child's best well-being. And that starts not at the high school level, but even at the elementary and middle school level.
Someone just actually texted me and they wanted me to like they said about getting offers,
Hmm.
and I'm saying this so that every parent understand this. I know a lot of coaches, and I'm able to put kids in front of coaches, but don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, your high school coach is very, very important. I don't care what I say. If your high school coach says that your kid's a butthole, or your kid isn't good, or he's lazy, they're gonna go with the high school coach. So parents, he was talking about you better find a high school program that you trust. And I'll tell you guys just from experience, colleges really they frown upon a kid going to two and three different schools, even if it's not your fault. Even if it's not your fault. They do not like it. They look at it as a red flag. This the kid is gonna be in the transfer portal. The minute it gets tough, that's what like so make sure you take a look at that because they do look upon that. Like you maybe get away with two, but when you talk about three and four, they're looking at you differently. They they might look at you crazy with two because unfortunately, and I've seen this happen in Central Florida, happen to me. The old school says talks bad about your kid. It shouldn't happen, but it happens. You got you got guys, I've seen it where trainers will talk bad about a kid because they train a kid. They train a kid, the other kid don't come to them. So now they tell, people that, oh, this kid isn't that good. I've seen coaches call, I'll tell you, it was a dude at Winter Park that got upset because on the 7-on-7 team, Tennessee offered like 25 kids. They actually offered a kid on his school, but they didn't offer one else. So he called the school and told them, "Why'd you offer these kids? He's better than all of them." Why would you do that? I mean, at the end of the day, like we just want the kids to get in school. Period. At least that's what I want. I don't
That's
care
it.
what school they go to. I really don't. You know, I want to get a degree, and that's really what's important to me. But yeah, let's see here. Let me go back in here. You got K Monroe. Is there room at any school for 2024s? Probably not. Probably not, K. I mean, like at this stage of the game, probably not. It may happen because we don't know what can happen. But right now, no. I mean, especially leading up to signing day. After
Listen,
that's kind of the thing that
I will
someone
tell
said a
you,
train is important. I'll let you answer this. This is actually a good question.
our trainers are important to recruiting as they are, as they say, try to say. Yes and no. Because if you're getting trained properly, you're going to make yourself more valuable when you go to camps and they see you in games. But if you got a trainer that's not training you properly, it actually can hurt you because you're going to be doing things wrong, and I'm not going to recruit you. I will tell
That's
you,
the part.
me being on the other side of the table now where I'm actually recruiting, I've yet to call one trainer to see about a kid, but I have called every high school coach, called in people that I know that know a player. Now, I say that to say, if a trainer would have called me that I know and say, hey, I got this kid, he's probably a D2, D3 type kid. I want you to look at him. If I know that trainer is a good trainer, I'm definitely going to look at that kid. So it's all about kind of who you go to and then also the level and who that
I think
trainer is connected to.
I think that they I think what they're talking about, because in Central Florida, you have a lot of trainers that will uh basically act like they're getting the kid the scholarship.
Yeah,
You know,
they ain't.
and I tell parents all the time, the only person a trainer can definitely let a school know about a kid.
Absolutely.
Uh, most of the time they're probably just reaching out to the school, which they should, if they, and try to, get the school to put eyes on the kid. Uh, but like when you see kids with 30, 40 offers, that kid that had nothing to do with a trainer, with me, with no, if he got 30, 40 offers, that kid was that guy, you know, seriously. Like I tell people that all the time, I can't take credit for John Walker. Did I tell schools that John Walker was the guy? Yes. But John Walker was the guy. you know,
Yes.
if I didn't tell those schools, they would have found out about him sooner or later. I mean, Cedric Baxter, they would have found out about Cedric Baxter sooner or later.
But like I said, I
But
mean, like that goes to the trainers being connected. I mean, trainers got to know people. I know you. I know you know people. So people gonna listen. But in the end, you
well,
tell them.
the best trainer I've seen that does it is Mark Lyles.
Mm,
Mark Lyles in Tallahassee is the best trainer. I literally had a coach call me yesterday and say that and it's some guys down south too, like that they train these kids, but the coaches come and rock with them because they're not all on Facebook, they're not all on Twitter, they're not posting conversations, they're not doing stuff like that.
hmm
Like, like because at that point you're really making it about you.
Yep.
You know, like that
Yep.
point, that's all it is. So I think that's what they're probably talking about. Because I think I got an idea who CM is, and that's what they're talking about. Because you have trainers that are posting stuff, doing stuff. I mean, and it's rough for parents trying to navigate.
Yep.
They're trying to navigate and figure out. Hey, you know, what am I going to do? Who am I going to deal with? And it's tough because and it's like a fine line because you want them to market themselves,
hmm
but if you deal with coaches and trainers, and if you're a trainer, person like myself, anybody, you deal with coaches, great. But no trainer or myself has the ability to make a phone call and the guy's just going to offer him just because you called. It doesn't work like that.
No.
The kid's gonna have to have some ability. The kid and that's just the way it works. I mean, we
Yep.
can let them know about it, but I know what they're talking about, and it is kind of bad. Yeah, see, Tom knows Coach Lyles. I'm telling you, man. Like I seen him, man. Like in the coaching circles, they all know him and they trust him. Mainly, they
hmm
trust him because he's not trying to promote himself.
Right.
They know that if he tells you the kid is good, he's good. He's not out there, and this is the mark of a great trainer and somebody who's a great helping with schools. They will tell a kid about a kid that they don't even deal with.
Mm,
They know because really I know what a D1 guy looks like. I don't
right.
I know what he looks like the minute that he drops. When I know what he looks like at every position. I know what they're looking for.
hmm
So I don't have to train the kid or know the kid or deal with the kid. If he's a dog, he's a dog. It is what it is. So, like that's why I tell people those are the coaches I love. Like I've seen and I'm telling you, that's why I hated all the stuff that happened on Central Florida with those coaches. One thing about them, this coach in Central Florida, they will argue, they will fight, They will do all that. But one thing they will do is I've seen them. They will tell a coach to go look at another kid at another school. They
That's
will
right.
say, "Hey, look, hey man," and that's the only reason why I deal with half of them because I know that deep down they getting their little matches and all that. But I've seen those guys really work for other kids.
Absolutely.
Like I've seen it. Coach Gerke, nobody can ever tell me nothing bad about Coach Gerke. I literally have seen him tell other coaches, "Hey man, go to Apopka. They got this corner. Go to Edgewater." I've seen it, bruh.
Hmm.
I've been there and I've seen him do it. I've seen, like, every coach. I don't, man, I don't like. You got coaches that have beef, Edgewater, uh, 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 Lake Mineola, DP Jones, and all of them. They be like, "Hey, Odom at Evans." I've seen them all tell, "Hey, man, go look at this kid over there." They all try to sell their kid, but they will say, "Hey, this kid is good."
That's right.
I've seen
100%.
that from a lot of those programs. So,
100%.
but that's why I say, man, if you're a real, if you're a trainer and all that, like, you don't have to talk bad about the other trainers. But parents, the best advice I give you, my last thing on the trainers, go look at all the trainers. Train with everybody. See which one you like. See which one your kids likes. If you matter of fact, when my oldest son, when I figured out where he was gonna go, I figured out just like this. I said, "What you think about this trainer?" I want to go this guy. I said, "Why you want to go this guy?" He said, "Man, he just too hard. He worked me too hard." Now, mind you, I'll tell you his name. It was Aaron Jones Sr. And to his credit, when I say, man, they better thank God he don't do it no more. He would work the dog, man. I'm telling you. And so as soon as my son said, "I don't want to go to him. He worked too hard." Guess what I said? Shit, that's who
that's
you going to.
that's
I
it.
mean, and he ended up going to Washington State because Aaron and those guys. So I appreciate it more than more than he knows. But so with that being said, let me see. We got a couple more questions. We get up out of here. Uh, what do recruiters look for in a kid? Size, potential frame, status, etc. And what's the best method for sharp players to go Division 1? The best method for sharp players. I'll start with that. The best method for sharp players to go D1 is to be fast as hell. I'm talking about you better be able to run.
Elite.
I'm talking about
Elite.
better have some track times. I'm talking about
Yeah.
10-3, 10-4. So if you have a short kid, keep him in track. Shout out to Coach Ellis and Florida Elite. And make sure that you get him in track. That's the best advice because if he's short, he's gonna have to do that. He's gonna
You
have to
got
have
to, I mean,
elite speed.
you got to have elite speed
We're
to
not
be
talking about
short.
football.
No, no, you
We're
got, I
not just talking
mean,
about football.
no, you got, I mean, so you've got to be in that track world. If you're a skilled kid and you're not running track, you ain't serious about trying to be elite.
To
I,
be
I,
honest, someone
yeah.
just actually asked, "Would you tell a kid to run track or play 7-on-7?" I say run track.
Hmm.
I say run track. I mean, 7-on-7's changed a lot. It's kind of like AAU basketball to a certain extent. I just watched, and I just posted it earlier today. Coach Gino Auriemma was talking about how he had an AAU basketball team, and he said and people are wondering why Europeans are getting better at basketball. And he said because over there they practice 6 days a week and play one game, and over here we practice one day a week and play 6 games. And he's right. That's kind of what's going on with 7-on-7. You have
Hmm.
guys out there playing and they don't even know coverages. We've been there. You have guys out there that don't understand how to get off press. So if you got a kid that actually, because everybody's like, well, how is that kid that good? Because he understands. He
Hmm.
knows how to get off press. He understands routes. He understands combinations. He knows, what defense the guys are in. So, you know, the most important thing is all these kids learning and getting better. And
That's
hopefully,
it.
I don't think so. The one thing about that is in 7-on-7, you really don't know how good your coach is. I would like to see Florida implement a high school 7-on-7. Seriously. Because a lot of guys that are coaching kids in 7-on-7 aren't really that good a coach.
Mm.
They're just out there. They're just
Mm.
out there. They thinking that it's this big time money in 7-on-7, and they thinking it's all kind of stuff like that. 7-on-7 tournaments are $1,000 now. 1,000. To play in a tournament for a weekend. And that'll include the $25 you got to pay to get in. You know, even though you just paid probably like $70 for your kid to play. You know, so I would tell anybody, you know, you run track because that can be counted on. Run
Mm.
wrestle. If you're a big guy, wrestle. Make sure you wrestle. You know,
Yes.
those are the things that you want to do. Uh, Basically, I think the best way to learn, and it depends on what age you are. And is this Raymond? Let me see which Raymond. Is this Raymond? And I won't say, is this the Raymond that is a Sigma? I'll say that because he might not want the world to know, because he might not want to get bombarded. But that's a very important man, by the way, since we're talking about track. But anyway, if that's what I think it is, but I got thrown off because I saw Raymond. I'm like, what we talking about?
He's asking what's the best way to learn the
Oh
game of
yeah,
football.
I would say yeah, that's him. That's him. He. Do you mind me telling the people about yourself, Raymond, or you want me to hold it? Hold it. Watch this. Do you mind me telling people about yourself? You want me to just hold, not say anything? Watch this. But to Raymond's question, I think the best way to learn football is honestly, and this may sound stupid, and I'm telling you, let the kids put it on Madden and put it on coaching mode. I mean, it may sound stupid, but they will learn coverages. They will
Mhm.
know because one thing about Madden coaching mode, if you say we're in cover three and you watch that position, that guy's going to be where he's supposed to be in that coverage. Same thing
100%.
with two, same thing with press man, same thing with nine, same thing with cloud. That's what it does. And and you tell them that you want to run this dig, they run it at the right route. It's and then if you're talking about little kids, I think that it's very important to let them play flag football.
Yeah.
Like let them. I don't like kids playing tackle football, year round. I
No.
don't. I don't. They need a break. You'll be here and so he said I can go ahead and say it. I said Raymond Green is single handedly responsible for my son's speed getting the way it was. Raymond Green trains track athletes, like Olympic track athletes. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Green, and I knew that a lot of people said my son's speed was a certain way, and so I took him to Mr. Green. All of a sudden, those 15-yard, hitches that he would get 15 and 20, they were 80. They were 75. A 99-yard kickoff return against Columbus. All of a sudden, guess what? Now all the people talking about, oh, that's the son, that's the what Rodney is the dad. Raymond's the running back. So that's why, yeah, because I just call them both Ray Green. So that like that, but and Raymond is a great running back. He can run. He runs tough. But his dad, Rodney, is a track guy, and I tell people all the time, you better find you a track guy that really knows what he's doing. Like we could do all this other training stuff. That's beautiful. Fine. Football is about running. And if I could go back in time, that's the only thing I wish I'd have done. I should have made and apologize to Ellis Dansley. I should have made my son run track early. But we had the COVID stuff, and that kind of slowed
Mhm.
everything down. But yeah, but Raymond is a running back at Olympia. And Raymond, I would tell you, but you're smart anyway. But like for a high school kid, put it on Madden. Don't play the game, just put it on Madden and just see. Like they'll tell you what holes to go to. They'll do all that. I promise you. Let's see. That's a good question, and I do think that to a certain degree, if you're playing against those guys, like and those guys and the coach comes to the school to watch you play in the game, because this has happened. We know this all the time. They've come to watch another kid, and you just get off, and now you that guy.
Yep.
We've seen it happen. I mean, Tracy
Happens.
McGrady story is the greatest story I've ever seen. No, he was the thousandth best player in the world, and he got to play against Lamar Odom. And after that game, he was the number one player in the country. So it happens. So, but as far as I don't, I think 26 is so loaded that they're gonna know who they're coming to see. 26 is probably the best, because Central Florida is like that.
Yep.
They have their classes. The
Central
26
Florida
class
right now.
quarterback.
Central Florida right now is the hotbed for quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, no question.
Right
Like
now.
you, like I don't think it'll ever be the strength with those elite quarterbacks help the lesser quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Probably yes.
Yeah. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you the one thing about wanting to get noticed, and this is where some of the Central Florida people have problems. You got to get out of Central Florida and get out of the state of Florida and go travel.
Oh, no question.
Go to other places. Go be seen. Don't get so stuck on I gotta go to the major D1s, that Power Five. Don't get stuck on that. Go stuck on being great, being seen, and you will be seen. That is the God's
If
honest
if
truth.
you're a quarterback, your recruitment is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna offer you without you coming on campus and throwing the ball. Like that's gonna be committable. Like that's just what it is.
Yep.
Like you're the face of the program. Like you're going to throw the ball for the offensive coordinator or the head coach at some point in time. That's just the way it works. I don't care who you are, whether you're D3 or if you're the number one guy at Alabama, you're gonna have to throw the ball in front of that coach.
Yep.
So, so one thing I tell anybody uh, is that if you need to go to these camps. I would not wait. Like me personally, if I'm a quarterback at 2026 and above, I'm probably going everywhere else but Florida. I'm not saying I wouldn't go to Florida, Florida State, Miami, but what I'm saying is I would be going to Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State, and Tennessee, because you'll stand out a little better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing about it, if you're a Florida kid, because we're not really known for having the best quarterbacks. Like that
No.
that's generally this kind of class reminds me of the class that Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence had in
Mm-hmm.
Georgia that year. And then you had some classes in California, like California last year had a bunch of guys, and in
Mm-hmm.
Texas you had a bunch of Texas guys. So we will be the hotbed for quarterbacks. And
Yeah.
back to the young man's question that says he's 20. That talked about the athletes. Uh, the thing that gets you noticed is your game film.
Yep.
At the end of the day, because don't get caught up in. I see a lot of 26s with a lot of offers, and the crazy part about even that is the quarterback thing is so grimy. They offer you, but somebody else commits. You ain't got no offer no more.
No.
So the 26s, y'all might want to commit. Some of you guys that have, unless you're like, because think about it, with all that 26 stuff we're talking about, ain't none of them in the top 10 in the country. Think about that. And this is as loaded as it's ever been. All we have at least, in my opinion, 5 to 6 D1
Yeah.
Power Five guys,
Yeah.
and we're not even in the top 10. And that's where, and honestly, that's where 7-on-7 has helped more than anybody.
Yeah.
Quarterback, like to be totally honest, it's helped them more than anybody. It really has. Like that's the one guy that it's helped him to learn how to read and all that kind of stuff. So, Will, I would tell you, uh, when you play these guys, yeah, and the scouts are there, do your thing. I would tell you to make sure that you do your thing regardless because you know you guys got to get film. Also, speaking of film, 'cause I just had this conversation, uh, guys, no coach is looking at a 25-minute highlight film. You got about 2 minutes, guys, and that might be too long. Like that might be too long. You got to, so put your best stuff forward, and it is what it is. Because, like I said earlier in the program, it comes down to measurables. If you're a quarterback, you 6'4", 200 pounds, you're gonna be a Power Five guy. Seriously, no matter what, they don't even go on how well you throw the ball. You're gonna be a Power Five guy. Seriously, it's almost like if you're a corner right now, you're 6'1", 6'2", Power Five schools are gonna take you. It's just what it is. So yeah, so let's see. We'll ask best of New England camps. Uh, you know, it's a little bit more spread out that way, but you'd want to, find a school that they have a good quarterback guy. Like, Syracuse would be a good place to go right now.
Yep.
You'd want to go over there. Uh, UConn is always a good school to go to. You got Jim Mora, who's, was in the league. Boston College is probably going to pick somebody on the offense side of the ball. You have Maryland up that way. You have Penn State, Michigan. So you have a lot of, schools in that area. Uh, I would tell anybody, you know, where you don't want to go, if you're not highly recruited or whatever the case may be, you want to stay away from California and Texas.
Yeah.
'Cause they have quarterbacks galore, always.
And
They get,
what Florida kids got to understand, you're a Florida kid. You already got a leg up because you play in Florida. I
mhm.
tell people because people ask me because I've coached in Florida and Georgia. They'll ask me what's the difference. I say, man, teams that ain't very good got D1 speed in Florida.
No
Legit,
question.
like out of this world speed. So Florida kids kind of get a leg up just for being a Florida kid. So just make sure when you go to these places, rep your school. Especially if you are at one of the well-known schools. Make sure you rep your school. Stand out. You're already a Florida kid. You stand out anyway. So just
Yeah,
make sure
you're gonna have that
you're
Florida swag.
yeah.
You're gonna come to camp, you're gonna have that swag, you're gonna have, that's something that they can't really take away from you. So, you know, uh, and I would tell anybody, make sure you go to camps. Like I tell people, you
Mm.
ain't gotta get on my bus trip. You can get in your car, take your kids, they can go wherever, but they have to go to camp. Like,
Have
because what happens is, and Coach Wells, I wish I could get a hold of him because he could testify to this. We have kids that they did not go to camp, and that's the only reason they're not at that school. Parents, I don't care what you if your son has a because since everybody's caught up on these D1 offers, if your son has a D1 offer and you don't go to camp at that school, he probably isn't going to have a D1 offer unless he has 40, 50 offers. But even then, if you're the number one running back in the country and you've never come to my school, what would make me think that you're going to be coming to my school? So I'm going to move on. I'm because they're gonna try to get you to come to the campus. Even like honestly, like if you're like Cedric Baxter didn't have to work out nobody campus after his junior year. Like, but they still was trying to get him to come up to the campus
yeah. I
because
put
that
it to
lets
you
you
this
know,
way. We don't offer a kid, even at my school, unless they've come on campus.
which is fair. You got to show that you're interested in us as well.
That's it. I mean, and that's just the God's honest truth. If you show me some interest, I'm gonna show you some interest, and we'll get you that offer, that graphic, so you can put it out on Twitter and be all happy. But I can promise you, if I send you an offer, you're gonna have to hear from me because I don't just offer you just to offer you.
That part, and we'll end on Jeff Forrester, who's actually in the chat. He said that's a good class, but Jeff actually sent an email on the thread. He said, which is the best way to contact coaches, email or Twitter or DMs? I
I'll
I
tell
just
you,
call them
man.
as
Listen,
I'm kind of different because I don't really I got their sales and all that, but I would think
right?
like the problem that uh, I would say the DMs. I would think
Yeah,
because I know a lot of emails, they're not looking at that, and they may have somebody look at that.
yeah,
And I do know some coaches that even their DMs is not being run by them, even their pages. But it's probably the easiest way to get like your film and stuff like that looked at, you know.
100%.
And I would recommend that you definitely send it to the position coach. Like,
Yep, send it,
I,
send it. So like for me, I'm the special teams coordinator, so I get to deal with all the kids.
correct,
So
correct,
if you
correct.
send me a DM, it don't matter what position, but absolutely send it to the position coach. But don't just send me the film and don't say nothing. Don't introduce yourself.
Correct.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you just send me film, you don't introduce yourself, nothing, I'm bypassing it. Because you telling me you don't have enough time or respect for me to even say, good afternoon, coach. My name is such and such. When you have a moment, will you please look at my film? It takes 5 seconds to write that out and copy your
I've
film. You
seen
can
some kids
copy.
that do a tremendous job of that. I've seen some
Yeah.
kids that they really, hey coach, I'm AG Wasim. I play wide receiver at Jones
Hmm.
High School. My coach is Coach Will. Here's my film. Here's my Twitter, Instagram, anything. And with that being said, when you do send that kind of stuff out to parents, make sure that Instagram or Twitter is clean. It don't need to have no curse words. Don't need to have, people all on like they need to kind of almost limit those uh they need to almost limit their if you got a friend that's cussing and doing all that, he might not need to be your friend on social media.
Hmm.
Like he might not be, uh you may not want that to happen. Seriously. Because you're gonna be judged by what you have on your so if every girl if they go on your Twitter and every person on your Twitter is an Instagram model, that might be a problem as well. Keep your Twitter like keep your Twitter, business style.
Yep.
It can't be, it's not for, likes and fun. This is business. Because a lot of kids, believe it or not, I've seen lose scholarships because of their Twitter and their Instagram. Seriously. It was a kid that I was so mad about too, man. The kid was at down in Jacksonville, same school Tebow went to.
Hmm.
And you know, he was rapping, a rap lyric and the N-word came up. And Florida dropped him. And so he was talented enough to go to Florida, and they tried to get him in Albany State, and he couldn't go there either. So I don't think he's even went to school. And the kid was very
I hadn't
talented.
heard nothing from him since the Albany State part.
Right. And the kid was very talented. So, like, everyone, just be careful, what you put on Twitter and what you put and what your friends put on, because it makes you look bad as well. And that we can end it on that, man. Hopefully, if you have a friend that has a student athlete, transfer that to them. Next week we'll be live again. I'll have another coach. We're gonna focus really on recruiting, because now next week, guess what? 2020, 2025, 2026 is on. You know what I'm saying?
What?
20, 2025, 22. Hey, it's your time, guys. So we're gonna make sure that you know everything that you need to know. So because 25s, guess what? You're on the clock next Wednesday. Like they are like you're on the clock, and you guys got about 3 months to figure out what you're gonna do. Because if you wait till like July, August, it might be too late. So thanks a lot, LaQuinn, man. We
Yes,
appreciate y'all.
sir.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for the time. Shout out, peace.